Oh wow, thank you. Like I really didn't expect this. I thought when we started, I really don't know why I was here. I came to this program and I've gotten a lot of information, like how easy it is to register with Study Now. Like it's easy. You don't even need to stress. Just tell them why and what you want to do, what school you want to go to and everything. And they'll just help you out, consult you, put you through.
As an aspiring student of YSJ, yeah, I'm happy to say I started my applications already. Just waiting for my transcription to be processed and I can submit my application.
I have known Study Now for about 4 to 5 years, and I've worked with them several collaborations. And this year we decided to host a Study Now event, a Study Now fair.
I heard about this event when Study Now agents called me and said they're having the fair today. I would say the event today was beyond my expectation, and the way it was organized, I feel like I've learned more than before I was here today.
The highlight of the program was when we got to the scholarship part. I saw a few people almost crying. I think I saw someone crying.
I was actually kind of surprised because it's been a while I've been applying for scholarships and I've never actually been shortlisted. So I was very surprised, very happy. I told my mom and sister about it. Up until today, I was really excited when I heard my name.
I basically applied then because it was one of my dreams to study in the UK. And today when I was called to the podium, my mind skipped a bit, I will not lie to you. Thank you to Study Now for they've helped me get a step closer to achieving my dreams.
In the Study Now fair, we gave 3 people scholarships of almost, £30,000, which is not an easy feat to do. And it's the first of its kind. We're doing it. Nobody's done this before in Nigeria. We're doing it. And we're going to keep doing it every year. I'm so happy for those who benefited from this.
This is really amazing. It's an amazing thing they are doing out there, and I'm sure that the people they picked would definitely make them proud.
Literally giving an opportunity to change someone's life is one I'm going to be particularly grateful to Study Now for.
One thing, I'm glad I came here today, and to everyone who is or might be looking to say, okay, I want to study abroad, but I don't even have the money. What I would say is take a step forward, start your application first. You never can tell. Anybody can just come and be like, oh, there's a scholarship somewhere, you can apply for this loan care. One of the directors already mentioned a loan or a partnership with a loan company for students who are willing to go through Study Now to study at universities, either UK or other universities. If you don't start, if you don't make researches, how do you get to know about them? So the idea is you start and see how things are going to roll up for you.
I think I'm going to do that, and I've been super pumped about applying to study in the UK. So
first of all, I want to give the flowers to the entire Study Now team, especially from those who organized everything, sleepless nights. On behalf of Study Now, the entire team would like to say a very big
thank you to everyone who made it possible to the Study Now fair in collaboration with York University.
Thank you for believing in us, and we keep on looking forward to having you and to making your wishes and dreams come true.
All right, good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's webinar, Your Pathway to the UK, Admissions, CAS, and Visa Success with University of Sunderland in collaboration with Study Now. My name is Halima, and I'll be your host for today's session. We are thrilled to have you join us, whether you're considering studying in the UK, have already applied, or are trying to get into the visa process. This session is designed to guide you through every key steps. Today's session will be led by one and only Clarke, representative from University of Sunderland, who will walk us through the full journey from application and admissions to securing your CAS and navigating the UK student visa process. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping rules. This session will approximately last an hour. There will be a live Q&A session at the end, so please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. And of course, we'll share the recording after this webinar. Now, with no further delay, please join me to welcome our Clarke. Clarke, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. I've got a really interesting presentation just to go through the University of Sunderland admission process, what the CAS process looks like, the kind of things that we're going to be asking for you. So I know a lot of students or potential students have questions about this, and it does cause them a bit of stress and concern, but I'm here to answer any of those sort of queries you've got today, and hopefully you take away some useful information from my presentation today.
Thank you so much, Clarke. So over to your presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so this is what I'm going to cover today, our admissions process, the CAS and the pre-CAS questionnaire. Based on some of the feedback I've had from students, I think this is one area which they really struggle with or have a lot of concerns is regarding the pre-CAS questionnaire. So we're going to go through that today. Hopefully you will walk away knowing a little bit more than when you originally came here. So for those who don't know, we've got 3 campuses at the University of Sunderland. We have the Sunderland campus, sorry about the text there, it sort of posted itself on the presentation. We have one in London, based in Canary Wharf, and we also have a campus based in Hong Kong on the Central Island. So our locations, we have Sunderland, based in the northeast of England, and obviously London, based in the southeast of England. So we'll cover both classes. So
Hi, Clarke.
Hi.
I'm so sorry. I might have to cut you a little bit. It's breaking. So could you kindly check your speaker so we could actually hear you properly?
Yeah, let me check the mic settings. Does it sound clearer?
It's way better.
Thank you. So let's start from the beginning again. So this will cover the admission process for University of Sunderland. So that's UOS and University of Sunderland in London. So UOSIL. So if you see those abbreviations, one's referring to London, one's referring to Sunderland campus. So our entry requirements for those of you that don't know, we have the WASI grades there, what we'd be asking for, and cap and study. Now we don't have a cap, so it's not like there's 1 in 5, we won't accept you. We do consider all caps to study, but it just needs to be justified. So you just need to explain to us what you've been doing during that cap and study. English waivers, we do accept media of instruction letters. So if you were a postgrad student and you had your you've done your HND, and if you were taught with a medium instruction of English, we'll accept that letter. If not, then we would require an IELTS. Some courses do require an IELTS, so if you were interested in a 3-year nursing program, that unfortunately will require an IELTS for admission or pharmacy. But any questions regarding English proficiency, more than welcome to send me an email, and I can check with our admissions team if we'd accept what we have. But it's pretty straightforward with what we accept for English proficiency. For postgrad, we look for 2-2 from a bachelor's degree or equivalent. And again, a gap in study must be justified, and then we have the English waivers there. If you have a 3rd class degree, it's not a no. We do offer several programs called the extended programs. Now, these are 15-month degrees which are designed for 3rd class degree students, just to support them to get them up to the sort of right entry requirements, and then they would continue on to their main program. So in subjects like international business management, we offer an extended program, human resource management. They run twice a year, some of them once a year. So if you've got a 3rd class degree, we do have a solution for you. There is also a partnership with On Campus, or CEG, as we sometimes refer to them as, and they do a pre-masters program, which is designed again for students with that third class degree. So if you do sort of fall into that category, it's not to say that there aren't options for you. There are plenty there. And again, happy to answer any of your sort of questions you may have about in your third class degree. So this is the new tuition fees for, I'm just going to switch over to my headphones just to improve the audio. And is that has the audio improved now that I've switched to the headphone mic?
Honestly, it has. Thank you very much.
Excellent, we got there. So for the new academic year, which would be 2025 to 2026, our current scholarship or tuition fee discount for postgraduate students is £4,500, and that's an automatic award. There's no application process. So if you applied for MSc data science tomorrow, that £4,500 would be on your offer automatically. If you were an undergrad student, so for instance, say a nursing top-up student, you would receive an automatic award of £5,000. But if you're interested in a 3-year undergraduate program, you would have £5,000 per year. So that totals £15,000 scholarship over the course of 3 years of study. So it's really one of the best scholarship sort of packages on the market. And like I said, you don't have to write us an essay as to why you think you should have the scholarship. There's no cap on the numbers. It's there for every student from this region. So encourage everyone to apply. Now, the information on the left-hand side is just giving you an example of if your tuition fee was, say, £17,000, scholarship would be applied. So your net fee would be £12,500. To secure your CAS, we require a deposit of £3,500, and then on enrolment, you would be left with £2,750 to pay. So you've got your CAS, you've arrived in the UK. On enrolment, we would require one payment of £2,750, and that's you paid up to 50%, ready to start your classes. Now, that remaining 50% of that tuition fee is payable in 5 equal instalments, and this will start the second month from your course start date. So if your course started on, say, the 10th of September, this first instalment would be due on the 10th of November. So it gives you 2 months of sort of breathing space just to work out your budget and just get everything prepared while you adjust to your studies. And then the first installment of your tuition fee. So a pretty low deposit and a great scholarship plus an installment package. I think it's a really enticing offer, and we've done it to support the students as best we can with the sort of financial side of studying in the UK and studying in the University of Sunderland. So before you submit your application, check the entry requirements. It's very important to go on the website, check the course. Some courses do have non-standard entry requirements. They may ask for slightly higher grades. They may ask for a degree in a certain field to be able to sort of go on to that postgraduate program. And some of them may require an IELTS, as I mentioned earlier. So always check that information from the very beginning, just to save you wasting your time of doing all the work in an application only to be rejected because you didn't have a previous degree in healthcare, as an example. So this is the first tip: is always check the admission, the entry requirements. If you're unsure, obviously you can contact the admissions team here. You can speak to one of the colleagues in Study Now who'll be able to check the entry requirements for you. And once you've submitted your application, so there's obviously multiple ways you can do that. You can go and apply directly through the website, or you can speak to Study Now, who have access to the application portal, and they can submit the application on your behalf. And when they do that, they'll be included in all the communication. So when the offer goes out, if we need to ask for further information, they will be copied in as well. And again, they'll be able to guide you through the early stages of the admissions process. Once all the documents have been received, we'll be issuing you your offer. So this would be called a conditional offer. So as long as you meet the conditions, then you progress to the next stage. And the conditions would be paying £3,500 for your deposit. Another one would be providing your English proficiency. So if you have that medium of instruction letter, you would just need to see that. So you've met all the conditions, and then you would move to the unconditional offer stage. So this is what the application portal would look like for a typical student. So you would have your own login, which would be a username and a password, and there will be a few different icons there. So one key one to pay attention to is the respond to offer. So if this is red, this means you've not responded to the offer. So you need to accept the offer, and then you would move on to the next stage in the admissions process. The next thing to pay attention to is the one on the left, the checklist. Now, if this is red, this means there's a document we are waiting for to be able to complete your offer. So if you're thinking, I've not received an offer yet and I applied last week, usually it would be that there's a document that we need to see. So this could be your nursing license if you're like a nursing student. It could be a criminal history disclosure form. This usually catches quite a lot of students out that they forget to complete this non-DBS questionnaire. So always check this box first, the checklist, and see if there's something missing. If it's in red, you know that there's something not missing. Sorry, there is something missing. The next stage would be the pre-CAS checks. So that they kind of fall into a few different categories. We have, sorry, I just need to make my screen bigger. There we go. So we've got your travel history, your passport and the personal information, English language evidence. So for instance, your medium of instruction letter or your IELTS certificate, pre-CAS questionnaire, the credibility interview and financial evidence. Now, credibility interview, not every single student will have to go through this. There are certain courses where credibility interview is a requirement. Also, the system does a spot check of students, so they may just sort of pick you at random to do the credibility interview. This is nothing to be concerned with. The agent, obviously Study Now, will be able to sort of support you through this interview, and you'll also sort of be told in advance what to expect. So the interview is done on a system called CAS Shield. It's really straightforward, and all the answers you'll already know in advance. So it'll be things like, why do you wish to study this course? What are your future plans? So they're not trying to catch you out. It's just preparing you for that visa interview, which is the most important one. So the final part of the CAS process is something called the pre-CAS questionnaire. And this is something I get asked about so many times. I was in Nigeria speaking to students a couple of weeks ago who, one of them, I helped them through their pre-CAS questionnaire together. They were unsure on how to answer some of these questions. So there's 4 main sections. The reason for choosing your course and the university. This should be pretty obvious. So choosing your course, it's going to align with your career goals and what you want to do in the future. Why you've chosen University of Sunderland, why you've chosen to study in the UK, what you plan to do after your course, and then the research that you've done into accommodation and your living arrangements while you're studying. So these 4 sort of sections, there's no trick question in there. They're not trying to catch you up. These are all things a student would know, and all you need to do is just to write them out very clearly and just express why you want to study this course in the UK at the university, and you should have no issues passing the pre-CAS questionnaire. And again, this is sort of preparing you for the UK VI interview, which is obviously going to be a little bit more intense, but it's just sort of preparing you in advance for the next stage. So there are a few important documents that you need to supply during this process. You've got your CV or your resume, employment references, employment contracts for periods worked. So when we're looking at the gap in study, and if you've been working with a logistics firm, we just want to see evidence that you've been working with this company. Pay slips isn't always required. You'll see that on CAS Shield that isn't always essential, but the employment contracts and the references are always key information to upload. There might be some additional information that might be requested if you've previously visited the UK, and further details on your post-study plans. So you will know this on the system called CAS Shield. There'll be a little message icon. And so if you were to open this message, you'll see a notification from Immigration Compliance, who have said, please upload further evidence that you've done research into accommodation or your post-study plans. And all they'll ask is you just maybe expand on the original reason why you chose that particular course. So again, they'll lay it out very, very clearly for you in plain English. Again, it's not trying to catch anyone out. It will just be that they just need a bit more further information, and then you can sort of progress your application. Let's go back. So the credibility interview, like I said, you may be invited to an interview to discuss your application further. Not every single student will have to do this. It's totally at random, but if you do, just do a little bit of preparation in advance. If you to go on the University of Sunderland website and to the immigration compliance section, there is a good source of information about the credibility interview on there. You would need to disclose any previous visa refusals, be it UK, Australia, Canada, US. You need to upload those refusal letters onto the portal for the compliance team to check. If, for instance, you are studying at the same level in the UK, so maybe you've done an MBA in the past and now you want to do perhaps like a IBM or MSc in data science, you would just need to state the reason why you're doing the same level of study. And this is because the UKVI do scrutinise applications where they're not seeing academic progression. So if you're doing the same level 7 course, they'll want to know why you're not progressing academically. So you just need to have good justification for this, and your application should go through smoothly. If you've not completed a course previously in the UK, maybe you ran into financial difficulties, or you had a health reason or family reason why you couldn't complete your studies, they would just need to have some evidence as to why that happened, and you just need to explain why, and then the compliance team can take that into consideration when reviewing your application. If your application is rejected for any reason, especially based on the questionnaire, if you contact the immigration compliance team, they can review it. So I'd highly recommend going through this process, and they'll be able to revisit that application and just double check that they've not overlooked something that you've said. So if you also have a chat with one of the counsellors at Study Now, and they can have a chat with me, and we can go through it together with the immigration compliance team just to see what we can do to support you through the appeals process. So I'm sorry why the text has all been sort of squashed together, but some of the questions I get asked quite a lot regarding CAS is, I'm a dependent on another person's visa, do I need a CAS? And this really depends on the type of visa that you're a dependent on. So it differs between if you are on currently on a dependent visa, or a dependent of someone that's on a say like a post-study work visa. So what we need is as much information as you have on your immigration situation, and the immigration compliance team will be able to take a look and confirm if you need a CAS or not. There are some students, because of their visa situation, that they do not need a CAS, and they do not need to show financial evidence. But make sure you're following the right processes, upload all this information, and the compliance team will take a look for you. Some students are not sure how long the funds need to be held in their accounts for, so it needs to be 28 consecutive days, and the minimum required is not allowed to drop below it. So this needs to cover your tuition fees and your maintenance fees, and it can't drop below that minimum amount during that 28-day period. And that statement, that 28-day period, that would be valid for 31 days. So that gives the university plenty of time to check it while it's still valid for 31 days. Will my financial evidence be verified? So we're very, very strict with financial verification. So we do check every single bank statement. So we will contact the bank and just verify that the person is the account holder, that the balance is genuine. Unfortunately, the fraud does occur, so we have to sort of mitigate this risk as best we can, just to make sure we obviously protect our sponsor license for sponsoring international students. If you apply for a visa and you're rejected on the basis of fraud, you do have to retain £1,500 of your deposit, as we have sort of the way the university is, they've sort of lost money on the CAS that they've issued you, and so the remainder of your deposit will be refunded back to you. There are some key dates here that we need to pay attention to. So this is for the Sunderland campus. So the courses will start on the 15th of September. Application deadline is the 18th of July. The payment deadline, so this is your deposit, needs to be in by the 1st of August. And then the CAS deadline will be 15th of August. The enrolment date is the 10th of October. Now, these enrolment deadlines can sometimes change based on how long visas are taken to be issued in market. For the time being, the enrolment deadline is the 10th of October. If it does change, you're obviously going to be notified, your agent's going to be notified, and this will be communicated well within a suitable time period. And then here are the dates for October and November, and then into semester 2 for January and February. So for those that are thinking about September, you've still got plenty of time, but the time does run out fast. So I would encourage you to put in your application as soon as possible and get that deposit in just to secure your seat. Now, there are some courses that have a cap, meaning that there's a limited number of students are allowed to take on them. So if you think, oh, I've got loads of time to put in my application, by the time you do that, that course could be full, and courses do fill up, especially this time of year, because over the next few weeks, we'll probably be entering our peak period. A lot of students are getting their results. People are sort of making the decision about whether or not to come and study in the UK. So courses do fill up very, very soon. So these are the key dates for the Sunderland campus. For London, the April and June intakes are now closed. The next intake for London, will be in August. Now they are closed for new applications and their payment deadline's passed, and the CAS deadline is going to be the 6th of June, ready for their enrolment deadline on the 8th of August. Oh, keeps flicking. The next intake after August is going to be October, and so again the application deadline is the 24th of July, payment deadline 1st of August, and the deadline to submit all your CAS documents will be 15th of August, with an enrolment deadline of the 17th of October. And then semester 2 dates, we have January and April there as well. Similar to Sunderland campus, again, courses do fill up, and we can only take a certain amount of students per course. So if you're definitely thinking about studying, don't hesitate, because courses will fill up. So you have your CAS and you're ready to come to the UK. So you would have used your counsellors at Study Now to help with the visa application, and obviously it varies between different regions and the processing times. Once you have your CAS, you will start to be sort of drip fed information from the university, so we won't overwhelm you with what to do. It's sort of like fed in like different amounts. So the first thing is Flying Start, which is sort of like it's a little module just to prepare you for arriving in the UK, how to set up your logins for all the various systems that you're going to be using. We do use something called Microsoft Authenticator, so you would need sort of a working phone, and the number would need to be valid to receive the two-step verification numbers. you would be set up with a new university IT account. The enrolment process for Sunderland is online, so you would be able to pretty much complete your entire enrolment on the portal. For London campus, you would need to do face-to-face enrolment. And one tip I would advise students to do is to pay, if we go back to that previous slide, the 50% on enrolment. You would need to have, this would need to have been cleared in the university account before you can enroll. So we know that sometimes payments can take a long time internationally. So once you've arrived, you've enrolled, ideally you would have that 50% paid well in advance so that you can turn up with no stress that you can't enroll and have all the paperwork done. You'd be sent an email to confirm your enrolment has been completed. You'd be issued your student ID card, which is very important for accessing facilities on campus. We use a system called Canvas for sharing all the assignments and your timetable. You'd be assigned your personal academic tutor, sometimes abbreviated as PAT or PAT. So this person would be designated to you just to support you on your academic journey, and see they're approachable. Should you have any concerns, like health concerns, family concerns, well-being, anything, raise it with them as soon as you can, and they'll be able to support you. The timetable will also be issued, so this will tell you what days you need to be on campus, reading days, study days, the academic holidays. While you're on your student visa during term time, you are allowed to work 20 hours per week on your student visa. Outside of term time, you are allowed to exceed the 20 hours a week, and the university can provide you with a letter to confirm say the Christmas holiday or the Easter holidays, and you can use this to be able to work over your 20 hours. So you need to just speak to someone on campus and they can prepare this letter for you. Again, so you've arrived at university. The London campus will do the international document check, like a physical enrolment. They would invite you on a particular day and a time to come to campus. They may ask to see like your bank letters, and then also on CAS Shield, you would upload your visa share code just to confirm your visa. And that's sort of the end of the presentation. I didn't want to go into it too any further. I was hoping there'd be some questions that I could answer, just regarding anything that I've gone through, or if people want to go back to the any particular slide. I got say on the finances, for instance, I can sort of go back. Leave it with Halima to decide what to do next.
All right. Thank you so much, Clarke, for that incredible, informative, and practical session. I am sure many of our attendees found that helpful and as they prepare for the next big stage. Well, we do have a couple of questions for the Q&A section, so I think I'll just dive into it immediately. So the first question says, after an offer, when do I get my CAS Shield email?
So once you've had your offer and you've accepted it, so you've got a conditional offer, the CAS Shield invite should come through in just a few days. Now, if your course starts more than 6 months, the invite to CAS Shield won't go out. So a good example is the students who would start in say November, because this is more than 6 months. And the reason why is that universities can't issue a CAS more than 6 months before course start date. But for instance, if your course is in September, it's usually just a few days before your invitation to CAS Shield has come through. Now, I would always double check your email is correct. I've had a issue this year with some students, their emails weren't correct and they haven't been receiving the emails for the CAS Shield invitation. So if you don't receive it within a few days, please reach out to me, or reach out to one of the counsellors at Study Now, and I can get that resolved for you. It's not a problem.
All right, thank you, Clarke. Next question is, do students undergo a pre-CAS interview?
They will have to complete the pre-CAS questionnaire, but the video interview, not every single student will need to do that. It's for the sub-Saharan African region, it's totally random. There may only be a handful of students per intake that would be required to do an interview. Sometimes it could just be they need further clarification on something. It could be like the gap in study. The reason, one thing I touched on earlier is if you're doing the same level of study again, they may ask for you to do the credibility interview, but it's not a requirement for every single application. It's just a small amount will be asked to do that. It's not essential.
Okay. Do you have MRS programs?
That's to be confirmed. We were hoping we would have a program ready for September, October, and so we're sort of waiting for the timetabling and all the resources to be able to recruit students for MRes. But I do believe we have an MRes in business sort of ready to go. We're just waiting for the approval to be able to put the links on the website.
Okay, same question on the MRS program. What are the requirements to put in for an MRS? Can I go in with a HND, or do I need a 2-1 to apply for the MRS program?
Yeah, that they would expect the student to have a like a full degree before applying for MRes. Apologies, I did not mention on the presentation. So we do not allow direct entry from HND to masters on any programs. You would need to complete a top up to be able to do any masters program. So anything of that level, you would need to have done like a top up program to progress.
Okay, because I have something in that nature. Another question is, I have a HND and I also have a MBA. And would I be able to go in for a direct master's, or would I be able to go for the MRS program?
So if you have an MBA and you have the full 180 credits, and if you wanted to do another master's, it's the situation I mentioned earlier about doing the same level of study. So it would just need to have good justification why you want to pursue a same level of course again. But if we do open MRes, then yes, in theory, you would be able to apply for that course. Or if you're thinking of doing, say, an MSc in computer science, again, you just need to have that justification for the same level of study.
Your question is for, what are your BSc programs?
So we have quite a large suite of BSc programs. Probably our most popular one is adult nursing, mental health nursing, computer science, business, media production. So that, video, photo, marketing, sustainable design, engineering, electronic engineering. So just trying to think if I've missed any. Physiotherapy. There's a lot of the sort of pharmaceutical sciences too, drug discovery. So there is quite a broad range of BSc programs, like 3-year programs, and all of those courses you would be eligible for the £5,000 per year scholarship. So totaling the £15,000 off your 3-year tuition.
Okay. For the BSc course, another question says, do you also have the same payment structure? That's the same instrumental payment structure for BSc like you have for the MSc?
Yeah, the example I put up was just I picked a course at random and picked a master's program, but it would be the same for the undergrad programs too. So whether you were doing, say, the nursing top up or computer science, like BSc, the installment plan would be for that too.
Okay, so I am a 200 level student here in Nigeria. Can I get a transfer to Sunderland?
So what we would need to do is check with the admissions and faculty that you're, based on your transcript, that the modules that you've done already, they match up to what you'd be progressing to here. So in certain unique cases like that, we would always sort of refer to the faculty to sort of map what you've done so far, if it's suitable to progress onto the program. So I'm happy to take, if they were to email me that information, or if you gather that information, I can have a chat with one of the admissions team and someone from the faculty about the progression of that student.
Okay, thank you. Now the question is, what's the turnaround time for an offer? So if I put in my application today, when do I get my offer?
So under ordinary circumstances, it would be 2 working days, but we are in our peak period now where it's closer to 5 to 7 working days. So we would have to subtract bank holidays and weekends from that, just because this is the busiest period for everyone. For international students, for home students, the UCAS deadlines will be approaching soon, and the UCAS embargo. But ordinarily, it'd be 2 working days. But some of them are taking a little bit longer just because of the peak sort of periods. Once the peak period's over, then it will revert back to the 2 working days. If it's beyond, if we're approaching, say, more than 8 days, then it's best to raise it with me, and I can have a chat. Sometimes the something may have been missed and the team haven't been able to progress with the offer. But anything like that, just obviously it'd be raised with me and I can chase it up for the student.
Oh, all right, thank you. All right, another question says, I'm a Benin Republic student with a 2-1. Can I go in for a direct master's in Sunderland?
What was the first part, sorry?
A graduate of Benin Republic University.
So we don't accept the certificates from the Benin Republic, unfortunately. So they wouldn't be able to have the direct entry.
So they may not be able to go for direct entry, but would they be able to go for like a top up, or
They would have to do a 3-year program.
that's a BSc?
Yeah, or a BA honors, depending on the subject area. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a question here. What if along the line I paid my tuition fee and something came up and I'm unable to, would I be able to get a refund?
Yeah, of course. So we know people's circumstances change or they change their mind and they can no longer sort of pursue the application. So as long as they haven't used their CAS, we can process a refund. At the moment, the refund processing times for an international transfer is about 8 weeks, just because there's always like a lot of them to do. But a lot of the time they can be done sort of much quicker. So if a student, has a sort of a change of heart, they can definitely get a refund. If you've used your CAS, then because we've sort of like lost that CAS number, they do retain the £1,500. But if you knew, I think if you've got to the CAS stage, you would probably know if you were definitely committed to progressing to the UK. So you would withdraw your application. But if the student has any doubts, just inform us as soon as possible. We can withdraw the application and start the refund process for them.
All right, the same person has the question saying, if I have been issued CAS and I decided to defer the semester or defer to another semester to another session, do they take out the £1,500 or it's automatic?
Not if you defer to the next intake. So, for instance, if you originally applied for September, something happens and you won't make it in September, so you defer to January, you wouldn't be able to use that CAS again. But what you'd need to apply for a new one. So if you have gotten to the point where you've even applied for your visa, it would require a new CAS number and a new visa application, and obviously that incurs the visa costs. But if you were just deferring, we wouldn't retain the 1,500.
All right, I think we've exhausted all the questions. Do you have more
There's
things to say, or
there's a few in the chat that I'll just address here that Dan's put in. Let's have a look. There was some from Instagram. Just regarding the Hong Kong campus. So yes, there is a campus based in Hong Kong, and they offer mainly sort of business programs. Some of them are part-time, obviously, with it being such a huge sort of financial and business centric city, that those sort of courses, support that industry. International students are totally welcome to apply for programs there. We do have students that will will opt to study in Hong Kong. Obviously, they would have their own admissions process, and their immigration process is very, very different from the UK. If someone was very, very keen to study there, then I can get the contact details from the admissions team in Hong Kong to go through what it would look like for a student to study there. But if someone is really keen to study it there, then I don't see why not, why they can't apply. They are taught in English. There are some programs that are taught in Mandarin, and then there are some that are taught in English. So there's like an
Okay.
MBA in Mandarin, and there'll be an MBA in English.
Okay. I think another question says, I collected my transcript from my school. Can I use it to apply for different schools?
Yeah, of course. There's no limit on how many schools in the UK you would want to apply for, but I would say just remember that each school will have its own application process and its own sort of CAS process. So you'll be sort of duplicating the work across several applications. I would When students use the UCAS sort of portal, they would apply to about 3. So I think 3 is a reasonable amount of applications to put into 3
Okay.
different schools, but it's entirely up to that student. It's just remember the work involved with for each one. You've got to do that exact same process for 3 schools, 4, 5, and it'll become a full-time job if you to apply to so many schools just to fill out all the paperwork.
Okay.
And
And the one
also,
that says,
your
okay,
deposit
sorry.
too, you would need to pay the deposit for every single school to secure your seat. So again, that comes with its own challenges too. So yeah, there's nothing stopping you from applying for multiple schools, but just remember that that's going to come with the paperwork for every single one.
Okay. So we have some courses. Some courses are not available in the application portal, and there are no provisions to enter the course's name manually.
So there are some courses that are not open to international students. So if a certain course doesn't appear on the portal, it's usually because they're not open to international, or the links have closed. They're not taking any more applications. So an example would be something like OzPAP, which has sort of closed. It's sort of reached its capacity already. So the link would be down to stop further applications coming in. But if it's a common course like cybersecurity, the link should be on there. I know the agent portal can sometimes be a little bit slow, a little bit fiddly, but they should be able to find that course. If it's any certain course in particular, just let me know. I'll be able to try and find it for them.
Noted. All right. How many MRS program for international students?
So far, I'm aware of one, which would be in international business. And again, there's a big to be confirmed whether or not it's going to be going ahead. We don't know the full entry requirements. We don't know the fees. So that's all to be sort of discussed, ready for, say, October time, if we were to sort of go ahead with it. But we're hoping to, because it'll be a very popular program and we get lots of interested students in MRes programs.
All right. I think we're done with the questions. Thank
That's
you so
fine.
much, Clarke. All right.
Oh,
So,
you're very welcome.
all right. So that brings us to the end of the session. A big thank you to you all for attending, and of course to Clarke for sharing such valuable,
Thank you.
insightful information. You were about saying something?
No, feel free to share my email address. You have it with everyone that's attended. If you have any questions, or reach out to one of the counsellors from Study Now, and they can sort of feedback the question to me. Should you not have the answer that you were sort of looking for today, happy to answer the questions.
No problem. Thank you so much, Clarke. All right.
Thank
We
you all.
wish you
Take
the
care.
very best, and thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone. Do have a
Bye
wonderful
bye now.
day. All right. Bye.
Oh wow, thank really didn't expect this. I thought
When we started, I really don't know why I was here. I came to this program and I've gotten a lot of information, like how easy it is to register with Study Now. Like, it's easy. You don't even need to stress. Just tell them why and what you want to do, what school you want to go to and everything. And they'll just help you out, consult you, put you through. As an aspiring student of YSJ, yeah, I'm happy to say I started my applications already. Just waiting for my transcription to be processed and I can submit my application.
I have known Study Now for about 4 to 5 years, and I've worked with them several collaborations. And this year we decided to host a Study Now event, a Study Now fair.
I heard about this event when Study Now agents called me and said they're having the fair today. I would say the event today was beyond my expectation, and the way it was organized, I feel like I've learned more than before I was here today.
The highlight of the program was when we got to the scholarship part. I saw a few people almost crying. I think I saw someone crying.
I was actually kind of surprised because it's been a while I've been applying for scholarships and I've never actually been shortlisted. So I was very surprised, very happy. I told my mom and sister about it. Up until today, I was really excited when I heard my names.
I basically applied then because it was one of my dreams to study in the UK. And today when I was called to the podium, my mind skipped a bit, I will not lie to you. Thank you to Study Now for they've helped me get a step closer to achieving my dreams.
In the Study Now fair, we gave 3 people scholarships of almost, £30,000, which is not an easy feat to do. And it's the first of its kind. We're doing it. Nobody's done this before in Nigeria. We're doing it. And we're going to keep doing it every year. I'm so happy for those who benefited from this.
This is really amazing. It's an amazing thing they are doing out there, and I'm sure that the people they pick would definitely make them proud.
Literally giving an opportunity to change someone's life is one I'm going to be particularly grateful to Study Now for.
One thing, I'm glad I came here today, and to everyone who is or might be looking to say, okay, I want to study abroad, but I don't even have the money. What I would say is take a step forward, start your application first. You never can tell. Anybody can just come and be like, oh, there's a scholarship somewhere, you can apply for this loan care. One of the directors already mentioned a loan or a partnership with a loan company for students who are willing to go through Study Now to study at universities, either UK or other universities. If you don't start, if you don't make researches, how do you get to know about them? So the idea is you start and see how things are going to roll up for you.
I think I'm going to do that, and I've been super pumped about applying to study in the UK. So
First of all, I want to give the flowers to the entire Study Now team, especially from those who organized everything, sleepless nights. On behalf of Study Now, the entire team would like to say a very big
Thank you to everyone who made it possible to the Study Now fair in collaboration with York University.
thank you for believing in us, and we keep on looking forward to having you and to making your wishes and dreams come true.